The countdown. All right. So are we live?
Yeah.
All right, we are live. All right, guys. So, well, first of all, thank you guys for joining us. If you are online, if you're not, you're hopefully you'll be able to catch
You are
all.
wrong.
You're wrong. If you're not here, you're wrong. We got Sam Staskal, Tony Lucan, Sergeant Sandy Lynn Burnett, and myself, DC, out of Dallas. Just we're just gonna banter out here, talking about social media and how it applies to us realtors. And we all have different platforms that we go on. We all have our different strengths, and I think it's important to understand that whatever platform that you choose, it's based on our target audience. Who are we trying to attract, and what content strategy are we putting in place, and what are our marketing goals and all that stuff. So. Um, with that, first of all, this is a kind of a social hour, so I'm going to put a couple people on the spot here. What's on tap for you guys? I've got a little Shinerbach, light because it's light
I
calorie.
did truly, which Sam makes fun of me about. Like,
There you go.
I don't know why.
I did Diet Coke.
At least I'm drinking.
Yeah.
How about that?
Well,
All right, so we got
not all of us drink every day.
we got the veterans going hard, and
I don't drink every day, just the ones that end in Y.
we got Sam and Tony, kind of the lightweights over here of the group.
Yeah,
so,
right.
All right.
We're just the wise ones.
Like I alluded to a minute ago here, we've got stuff in regards to the social media, the audience, the engagement, the visual aspects of each platform, and the advertising opportunities that each platform allows us to do. So, Tony, I'm going to start with you, man. What's your forte there in terms of social media?
Well, I'm kind of the YouTube guy. I got the Living in Iowa channel. Do not subscribe unless you're gonna buy a house, though. Please don't hurt my subscriber count, because in YouTube, one of the things is you have a target audience, and I'm not trying to get necessarily just anyone. What I found is I've kind of got a lot of relocation people coming from out of state. There's a little bit of in-state people as well, but that's pretty much my forte is YouTube. And I also have a second channel I just started it, but it's more targeted towards, I guess, helping real estate agents with stuff like this, social media, whatever, really. Yep.
Nice. So YouTube obviously is traditionally a long form content platform, right?
Yeah, it's long form. It's a search engine. That's why I kind of chose it. I've done a little bit of everything. I guess I've dabbled in Instagram. I've even got some people reach out to me from TikTok. Facebook is another one in our market, I believe, is a really strong social media platform. But YouTube is a search engine, not interruption marketing. That's kind of how what I believe in. So people are actually going to YouTube and searching moving to Iowa, where to live in Iowa, cost of living in Iowa. That's kind of my relocation specialty channel. Whereas when you're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you're interrupting people. They're not going there to try to find where to live in Iowa. You're interrupting them, and then you're hoping that through the interruption they come to you. So mine's more of YouTube's the number 2 search engine behind Google, and that's kind of my strategy, is just to think through the lens of a relocation buyer, and try to help them.
So it's very SEO heavy. How deep in the weeds do you get in terms of the analytics and stuff for that?
Well, I've been doing it for about 2 years. I lost my channel at my first brokerage because it was connected to my email. So this is actually my second channel, and it is very. It's not too much. It's been 2 years of just being obsessed with YouTube. Honestly, I optimize all my own stuff. I still do my own thumbnails. I don't edit anymore, but it's a process. It's not easy, and that's kind of why. I mean, it is growing. There's a lot of living in all over the place. Realtors are using it, but if you want to do it and do it effectively, you got to kind of be obsessed with it, honestly.
So what type of content do you generally push? Is it home tours or educational type, or are you dancing around, or what are you doing?
So my number one video is avoid moving to Iowa unless you can handle these, I think 7 facts or whatever. So negative's always the thing, just like news headlines, just like anything. That one's got just over 13,000 views on YouTube. And then I also have living in Iowa, things they don't tell you, another kind of negative connotation, you know. So believe it or not, I'd rather someone come to Iowa, especially out of state, and know everything there is negative and still choose a state, you know, because I don't want them moving here and regretting it. So that's kind of my strategy. I do have positive ones too, why to move to Iowa. Those are just kind of the big hits. I've even kind of delved in more of the living in Iowa, where I done a fishing video, and it's just doing pretty good because I like to fish. Homesteading. There was a big homesteading event, so I met the Homesteaders of Iowa group, people that have like 5,000 some people in their group, and did a 2-part video on that. So I've kind of branched out a little bit outside of real estate, but I've done probably like, I don't even know, 60 to 100 long form videos in the last year, you know? So that just kind of I've done a lot of real estate, especially Cedar Rapids and Iowa City. So my goal is to kind of honestly branch out, and with other agents I could do better, but I'm a one-man show right now. So I would like to get into Des Moines and the other markets, honestly.
Nice. So, you were talking about how YouTube is more of a search engine versus the other one where everybody's just kind of scrolling through and finding things by luck. Talk about keywords. I know there's a website called TubeBuddy out there, right? For the agents that are looking to get into YouTube and everything. So TubeBuddy offers you the ability to search specific keywords that are being searched for in your area, right?
So I'm not as familiar with our TubeBuddy. I use vidIQ.
Okay.
Honestly, keywords are like your least important thing. Honestly, it is important in a way, but it's like number 5. Honestly,
so what's the other 4?
Well, number 1 would be your thumbnail, right? Because that's the first thing they're looking at. Number 2 is your title. Number 3 is your content, and then number 4 is, well, actually, number 1 would actually be your topic, and then thumbnail, title, your content, then the optimization of keywords. I mean, I've seen people that I've researched, I can see it on my vidIQ, and they don't even do a single keyword and they get a ton of views. So it's a little bit overrated. Not to say don't do it, because you should, but that wouldn't be the number 1 thing I'd teach.
So were you?
And Tony, speaking of thumbnails, I've seen you do your thumbnails are great. How important are, like the pointing and the surprised face and all that shit? Like, does that actually get, a ton of engagement?
Well, I mean, the master's Mr. Beast, and he's kind of got it down. I mean, there's a ton of other people. I really do research the heck out of it. I don't know. I just try to, honestly, ChatGPT has been a game changer for me because I'm not that creative of a person, honestly. So I kind of get inspiration from that, and then I do make my own because I have a high level of standard for my thumbnails. Eventually, I'll probably give it to someone else, but I don't know. I don't mind doing it, and I like sometimes I don't hit it big, but when I do, I know it. If I take my time, I always hit it pretty good, you know.
It's hard to let go of the reins a little bit, especially when you're, like me. I'm a control freak, man. I hate letting other people do other shit that I think I could do on my own. But no, I totally get that.
So I have a question. Can I jump in? Sorry.
Do it.
So when you make a YouTube video, do you post the first one you take?
Well, it's a long. I'd probably give too long of an answer. I have a process I do.
Okay.
And I honestly use a teleprompter app. I don't do well off the cuff.
Oh.
It's not going to flow. I everything out, it's still me because I write it. I don't even do Chat GPT anymore. I make it all me, and no one notices. Honestly, the teleprompter app I use, you can't even tell I'm reading off of it. But I just get everything I want in a video. Some people are great off the cuff, honestly, but I miss stuff, especially in the past. I missed all sorts of stuff I wanted to put in the video. So I just shout out to David Crum, by the way, in Greenville, South Carolina. He's a good friend of mine if he's watching this, but he got me onto this, and he has Living in Greenville channel. And I started doing it that way. I don't miss anything. And again, I just try to take my time and really think deep of what these people are wanting to know. Because sometimes as realtors, even just in general, we know what we know, but the general public, you can't assume they know much of anything. Some do, though. Yeah, I mean, some are very bright people, but not everyone knows what we're doing, just like we don't know how to plumb. I don't know how to do plumbing stuff. So that's kind of how I look at it, is if I was going to show someone how to fix a toilet, that's the way I look at it, how to move to Iowa.
So what's your advice for people that, so one trend that I've been seeing, throughout the country is this living in such and such city. It has become such a big thing because that's obviously something that people search, right? So when you go search for living in such and such city, your city's going to pop up and you're going to be able to talk to that if your channel pops up. So do you think that that platform is oversaturated, or do you think there's still room for growth for other people that want to get into it?
Well, I mean, I can't service everyone even in Marion, Iowa, let alone Cedar Rapids. So yeah, there's plenty of opportunity no matter how you look at it. But as far as like starting a channel or anything like that, first off, no, it's a process. It's consistency. It's going to take a ton of work and a lot of time. But number two is you got to know what your target audience. If I was starting a channel in like Chicago, I wouldn't do it the way I'm doing it. I would do property tours and try to get listings, honest to God. But in Cedar Rapids, or really all of Iowa, I'm not going to pull enough views just going straight for property tours. Maybe acreage might hit it big, but that's about. So I just think of it, I think honestly where I'm at, relocation's probably the best route for me. And it's a long-term game. I'm trying to brand myself. Mm-hmm. I could work on that, but I'm trying to brand myself living in Iowa. And maybe 10 years down the road, I will be a name brand. I don't know. Who knows? But I just try to look at things long-term, and yeah, that's really how I do it. And so, I think relocation's the game.
So how often are you posting videos?
Once a week, every Sunday. And I don't do short form. I just do long form once a week. Honestly, there's a guy, I know Sandy probably knows him, and living in Quad Cities, Alex Skeen. He tried to, I never talked to him about it, but he wasn't pulling as many views. Certain markets have more search, and I'm not saying it wouldn't work. If I had a property tour, or like I have a listing, I might post 2 that week, just because that's part of my listing is like, I'll do a video for you, right? So, but every Sunday for the last like 6-7 months, no matter what, I've hit my goal of posting it in the morning. So Sunday's just what the YouTube tells me is the best day for me to post. So that's why I just did that and I stuck to it.
So talk to us about your process.
I've heard the advice that basically, like, even if you're sick of talking about the subject or really drilling down in a certain area, your audience isn't sick of it, because that could be the first video that they're watching of it, right? Yep. So your channel needs to be super niched and, really drilling down on it. And I think you've definitely done a great job on that. I'm a subscriber.
I'll help find you.
But he doesn't like that. I'm a subscriber.
Oh yeah, I can't like you.
I'm not trying to like live. Well, I guess I do live in Iowa, but
if you watch it, it's good. It doesn't. I mean, the algorithm's that
Yeah.
niche, you know, but
I watch and I like your videos. So
well, good. Thanks.
So help me understand this. So if you have a channel and somebody just subscribes to it without the intent of, engaging with you on it, does that hurt your channel? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, I mean, the algorithm doesn't push. It's a buildup from what I've learned. I don't know if it's true or not, but from the research I did, like YouTube gives you so much push every single week, and it's like a snowball, you know. Eventually, they keep pushing it out further and further, further. But you kind of have to earn your stripes on YouTube, and I've really learned that with my second channel is like I'm not getting any views, you know. So it's been, if you're going to do it, it's going to take 6 to 9 months. I would just expect that before you really get any momentum. But it does depend on where you're at too. I mean, it just really does. If people are searching it and there's not a lot of competition, I mean, eventually you're going to hit it. I mean, how many, you just look in Dallas, there's probably 15, 20 channels that all have, over 5,000 subscribers. In Iowa, it's hard to get 1,000, let alone 5,000, so.
Yeah.
And Tony, one thing I think we should hammer home, because it's a lesson that you and I have both learned the hard way. When you mentioned the email thing, like your email address is tied to your YouTube channel forever, right? And so like my that broker girl YouTube channel is tied to a completely different email that I want to stop paying for. You changed it?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can change it. I just know once you lose it, at least when I lost 2 years ago, trying to get a hold of YouTube is like trying to get a hold of Facebook. You can't get a hold of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sam, I would love to talk to you about that offline.
I have no idea how I did it.
I've been trying to do that. I've been trying to do that for like a year because I pay for this other email address. So my advice to the audience would be do it in an @gmail.com address, because my shit's like Sandy Lynn at that broker girl, but mine personal one is tied to sandy@sandylynn.com. I don't want to use that fucking email anymore. Like that one's done. And so that's the last thing that's like tying me to that email.
No, I did, because when my video went viral, at the time that it went viral, I was using my brokerage email address time. And when I left that brokerage, I lost access to everything, but I was able to go in and change the name of my channel and the email address.
It's good.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah.
I don't know how I did it.
Okay, well then there's hope for me.
It was 4 years ago, so I don't know. Maybe they blocked it now.
I mean, if it can be done, then I'm excited to hear that, because you're the first person that I've ever heard that has successfully done that.
So Tony, there, obviously this question is kind of, it's going to apply to all of us, that are on social media. And we all started in different ways or whatever, but you seem to be pretty comfortable in front of the camera and talking and everything. Were you always like this starting out, or did you suck? Like everybody says, like you're going to suck when you first start out.
Yeah. I mean, I sucked and I still would probably suck going off the cuff. I mean, I'd do a little bit better just because I know you're forced to learn your market. But that's the thing about YouTube is it forces you to learn your market. No matter if you're doing content on your market, you're learning, the neighborhoods, what people want, what people want to know. So anything you do, you get better at. I mean, I was 30 when I got into real estate, so I wasn't necessarily young, and I was hungry, and I still am. But I mean, I tried everything when I first started. So, and I quit my job cold turkey. So I was all in, and I did YouTube right away. The only course I bought was Mike Sherrard's when I first got in. I had how to edit myself, and then just started doing it. it's funny because I was actually looking at, I used iMovie to edit my videos back then, and I was deleting stuff off my computer because it was getting full, and I actually ran into it. I was deleting them off iMovie, but yeah, they weren't very good. I'll be honest, but people don't really care. I mean, honestly, I'm the only one doing it in Cedar Rapids, so I can put out the junkiest stuff, and I'll still, But honestly, I'm just trying to make it so no one ever wants to get in the Cedar Rapids market. That's kind of honestly.
To just stay consistent with it, yeah. And you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I guess that's the what I'm getting out of this.
Yeah, and you gotta commit to it. I still call for sale by owners. I still do that. I try to do it every day. But I did commit to YouTube. You know what I mean? YouTube is my number one, and it's people are watching me while I'm sleeping. You know what I mean? I get about, I don't even know, 12,000 views every 30 days. So it's quite a bit, honestly.
Yeah, the content on it is evergreen. I mean, like you said, it's just passively prospecting for you. Whether you're that's awesome.
Yeah.
Andy, it looks
So
like
I think that's great advice though, because I think agents get super overwhelmed with social media in general. And that's why we're doing this, is because they're like, I feel like I need to do everything. And then they get burnt out within 48 hours. They just can't do it. They shut down. And so we have this panel here tonight because we've all I call Instagram my drug of choice, right? I focused. I went in hard on Instagram. That's what I chose to do. Tony went in hard on YouTube. That's what he chose to do. Sam is Facebook. And I think that if realtors just concentrate on one platform and just dominate that and focus on that, that will yield better results than trying to do it all and be everywhere at once, because that's what I was trying to do. And it just wasn't getting me anywhere. I was spinning my wheels.
And tell me what you think of this, but I also think you have to have a follow-up system of some sort in place even before you start doing all this stuff. Because I door knocked my first year, honestly, probably 2,000 to 3,000 doors, and I had no thought. I didn't even remember their emails. I lost everything. I did get 2 deals just from doing so much, but the amount of deals that I could have had if I would have just had anything in place, and it could be as easy as just having, we have Lofty and just putting tasks on everyone. So every day you have a task to follow up with that person, but you can do all this content and all this stuff, but if you don't stay in touch with them in some way, it's kind of all for nothing. Honestly, you'll lose more than
I think it's also important to be like Tony, you're thinking, what is my video for? My video is for literally aimed at buyers and sellers moving to Cedar Rapids, or because I think it's buyers and sellers that don't live already in Cedar Rapids. They're relocating to Cedar Rapids, and you want to catch them, right?
That was accident. I just realized, honestly, just thinking about it and watching enough content, I was just putting out videos. I didn't really know what I was doing first. I just was a realtor, and I was some of the videos I wouldn't do again. What I started out, like tips on selling your house. No one cares. Honestly, no one's going to watch that video. You're not going to pull sellers that are trying to educate themselves. It's just not how. I've never heard of someone putting out how to sell your house and then all of a sudden everyone's looking to list their house with them. I mean, it's just a realistic truth.
I agree.
Now, if you're putting out videos on
content plan for the month, shit.
Well, high quality videos on properties, that is what everyone wants to see in the grand scheme of things. Everyone wants to see that nice house that they want to live in. They don't care about me necessarily. They care about their results.
So
I even, because it's not about me, honestly. It's about them, and they want to see a house or they want to see the area. They don't want to see you trying to sell someone's house. You're not going to pull people from your own market that easily unless you're providing real value, like a high quality property tour. Then you could be the listing person.
We have so like Hamilton is on my Instagram, and he brought up the question of what's the preferred social media platform? Is it specific for an area? And my answer is it's literally just like a CRM. It's the one you will use, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. It's the one you will use. However, I think we should talk about, I do want to get into, Sam Staskell and Facebook, but then after that, I would love to talk about, maximizing and the different types of content and how we would post differently on the different platforms. For instance, LinkedIn is more professional. I'm not going to be showing as much cleave there. And so on, Instagram, I'm going to be my party girl self, whatever, right? But yeah, so that's it. What I would say is like select the platform that you're going to go in on. I chose Instagram personally because for homes, like Instagram is a visual platform. It's less about words, which already like I'm so over Facebook and it's like long rants and bullshit, right? So I want to give them as few chances as possible, right? So it's pictures, videos, whatever. I can just scroll through it. And so it's a visual platform. So I felt that was an important platform to showcase marketing and homes.
No, and you make a valid point there. Like, Tony was just talking about how, his content on there, he's still getting views even when he's asleep. Whereas the way I see Instagram is just a raging river of just flowing information and graphics and video and all this content that is very short lived. So if you happen to catch it and it connects with you or whatever, you have to be there in the moment. Otherwise, you're just going to miss it. And it's for definitely for a very different type of audience. Real quick before I want to move on to Instagram and Facebook for sure. But I want to ask Tony, as you were talking about follow up on YouTube, what does your follow up look like? What does your follow up look like? Do people contact you on there? And I guess one of the reasons we're having this conversation is because we have all had success, I'm assuming, on these different platforms. And what does that look like for you on YouTube?
Yeah, so actually, I get about 2 or 3 reach outs a week. That's what I about average. And it's not all buyers. I mean, most of them are honestly renters that are looking to rent for a year or maybe 3 months or whatever, right? So that's who's reaching out to me. The person that reached out to me today was from New York. I get a lot of people from, I don't know if we can say it on here, but the blue states, honestly. I get a lot of people that reach out from California, New York, the West Coast. But my process is I just either they usually email me or text me, it seems like, but I do get some calls, and I usually set up a time to, no matter, I don't care if they're renting or if they're buying, I treat them all the same. I just try to build a relationship with them. They usually already trust me more than the average person because they've watched my content, and I just have a conversation with them about what their goals are, basically. And I actually use the one that was at Earth to Orbit now that we have. And I don't, not all of it pertains to them, but then I put them in Lofty and just put a task on them. So it's all dependent on what the person's goals are. And I put together like a private landlord list in my state, send them property managers, stuff like that. or if they're going to buy, obviously, I'll either refer them out if they're out of my area, or I'll help them.
Nice. No, that's all good information there. You guys have any other questions for Tony and YouTube? I want to actually talk to Sam about the Facebook stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm not
I'm
a
excited.
Facebooker. Yeah. So
don't get too excited.
Yeah, when I first got out of the military, I did not do any kind of social media whatsoever. Right, the extent of my experience with social media was email, and when I got out, they really harped on you getting some sort of professional social media account to, and Sandy, you're going to know this a little bit. How to network with other professionals, because you're entering a whole new realm, a whole new world of, in the job market and everything. So, I got into LinkedIn a little bit heavier and everything, but I never got into the Instagram until last year, I think. I don't have YouTube, and I don't know how to Facebook. So that's just me. I don't know how to Facebook. But I know, and I've seen, Facebook Marketplace. I've seen the robust opportunities for marketing when it comes to Facebook, and you can reach a whole range of your target audience, whether it's younger people or the older people, or just everybody seems to be on Facebook. So talk to us a little bit
Okay,
about
real
that.
quick, I just want to do a quick plug for Sam, because what realtor on God's green earth has 30,000 likes on their Facebook business page?
Well, first of all, there's
Sam Staskell.
There's 72,000 followers on that page.
Okay, I mean, delay my last. Like, this chick, like, listen up, folks.
Small. But the followers are huge. What's that noise?
Yes. It ain't me.
Oh, was it here?
I think it's DC. I'm going to blame DC.
Oh.
So I just wanted to, plug that real quick, because, this is not just anybody talking about Facebook. You have a huge following.
Well, thank you. So I don't know if Tony or DC, I don't know if you guys are familiar with my viral video or not, of me falling down with my dress over my head in front of a client and me going live on Facebook to talk about it.
Okay, somebody turn off your fucking notifications before I kick your fucking ass.
I don't know who it is.
No, it's DC.
That's
Put
DC.
on your fucking do not disturb. Grow up.
My daughter is downstairs asking me if I need anything. So
my comfort animal over here.
Yeah. Go put your dog.
Okay, so anyway, as I was saying, that viral video. So I made a viral video in 2020. So I've always been active on Facebook since Facebook started. I've been on Facebook before I got into real estate. So I was familiar with how it worked. When I got into real estate, I started my business page. And prior to my video in 2020, I would guess that I had less than 200 likes or follows on my business page. So after my video went viral, as of today, I checked before I got on here. I have 72,000 followers, 30,000 likes. My viral video itself, that was a Facebook Live that ended up being shared and reshared and then picked up by Lad Bible and other places like that. It has over 100 million views across multiple platforms. And the thing with a video like that is it's constantly being reshared. And when people reshare it, especially if they reshare it from my page, I mean, it just keeps going to more and more people's Facebook pages to get more and more people to follow you. So I also checked my stats on my videos. So I checked to see, if I post, say I post a shared video that I'm not in this video, it's just a shared video, I get maybe, let's see, about 500 views, right? if I post a video of my quirky self doing something stupid because I'm ditzy and I'm gullible and accident prone, I get anywhere from 1,500 to 5,000 views. That's not counting shares and likes. That's just the views. If I go live on Facebook, I typically have 2,000 to 10,000 views. And then oftentimes it's shared and, you know, everybody gets it back on their memories. That's the good thing about Facebook is you have Facebook memories. So every year my video resurfaces. I took the video in August of 2020. So every year in August, all of those people that shared my video get it in their memories that day, like that they posted that. And then they usually reshare it saying, this is still funny, or love this girl, or love her laugh. If you need a laugh, watch this. So, so it's constantly reshared that way annually. And then like when, you know, Lad Bible picked it up, there was other big names that picked it up, but people shared it from there onto their Facebook page. So again, on their memories, that comes up every year, the day that they shared it, and it's usually reshared again. So it recirculates like 4 times a year with millions of followers or millions of views each time. So that's what I love about Facebook is you have your memories, and everybody else has their memories too, and hopefully they're good ones. So it constantly gets revisited. The biggest takeaway that I've learned after that experience was before that, I was trying to do like more educational videos of, you know, like what you should look for in an inspection, what, you know, 5 things to look for at a house that you're looking at or something. And people didn't really watch those. It's when you're, you know, off the cuff, just unscripted, just authentic being you. And that's what they want to see. They don't want to see somebody scripted and perfect. You know, they don't want a commercial. They want, you know, the real you. So I think that I've always been authentic that way, that I've always lived my life on the cuff, on the fly. You know, I don't prepare for anything. I'm always just winging it. That's what I wing my way through life, and I've made it this far, and it seems to be working pretty well for me. Things get screwed up when I try to be professional or scripty. It does not work for me. Like if I'm not laughing at myself or laughing about something stupid I've done or something silly my kids said or something, nobody cares, you know? So I see a lot of other realtors in their videos and stuff. You can tell they're totally awkward. Sandy and I talked about this on Sunday. You can tell that they're very awkward on the camera. And I think the main part of the reason why they're awkward is they're trying to be perfect. You know, like that's why I asked Tony, like, how many times do you spend retaking a video, or do you post what you get? I post what I get, and what you get is what you get, you know, better luck next time. You know, I don't retake anything. I don't edit anything. It's just raw me. That's me. And I've, you know, usually get a lot of comments. I've received a lot of mail, personal letters, stuff like that, just of how relatable I am. And I think that makes a huge difference in this industry to be relatable, because people are kind of on edge in real estate anyway, because they don't want to be pressured into buying anything. They don't want somebody that's salesy. You know, they want somebody that they can approach with their questions that's going to, especially if they're first time home buyers, they want somebody that's going to take the time to explain things to them, and just somebody that they can approach to ask questions, not somebody that's, you know, real stiff and just not approachable.
So I love that. I love that. I mean, that's, you know what, but that's, you know, I agree to disagree, I guess, in a way, because that works for you.
Right.
You're very off the cuff. And, you know, Tony alluded to the fact that he needed to script stuff, and it works best for him, and it's working for him and his channel.
Right.
You know, so you really got to find your niche and what works for you and what people connect, you know, to you,
Right.
through content. So, no, that's awesome. I think
Yeah.
I think I got like 40 followers on my Facebook.
Well, I agree that, it has to be what you're comfortable with, but I wouldn't focus so much on being perfect.
Yeah, and if you're gonna edit it,
you're never gonna get there.
I actually agree with what way she does it. If you're gonna edit, it better be good. You know what I mean?
Right.
It better be top notch. If you're gonna do a halfway job on it, you might as well just be raw and authentic, honestly. And we're talking about different platforms too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Long form content's just the only one is YouTube that I know of that people are using. If I was doing a short form, I've dabbled with editing on that, but I mean, at the end of the day, people want to see the real use, and mine still is. Even though I edit it, I don't make it from Chat GPT. I don't even use it anymore. Like, because she is right. I mean, when it's not your thought, you don't come off the right way. Honestly.
Right.
No, and I saw a comment up here that just popped a second ago, and I believe it was Holly that commented on this, and I personally struggle with all this because I want everything to be perfect and everything to be just right. And, and she said, hey, half my stuff just does not get posted because I'm always waiting for it to be perfect and always waiting for edited and everything. So
post it.
Yeah.
Just post it and see what happens.
See what happens.
I guarantee it won't be bad. There's no such thing as bad publicity. So your video is still
publicity. You're right. Yeah.
There's no such thing as
bad publicity. It's true.
I
mean, I'm absolutely going to get canceled, and I've already accepted that. That it's going to happen one of these days. So.
Right. Yes. Well, I mean, we should really put bleeps in all of Sandy's videos. Just put bleeps in just so we can play them for our own enjoyment. Because I would like to hear how many bleeps are in it.
It's gonna be like that Adam Sandler scene when he's at the golf course with Bob Barker, just bleeping the shit out of that.
Holly also commented. She's our comment girl. Like, she should talk about chat. She says she's so sick of Chat GPT. That girl is the master.
I mean, you can spot that shit a mile away. Like when AI wrote something, it is so like I know the emojis that somebody's using, the star thing, the handshake. Like, I just know that AI wrote this, right? And so I'm sick of it too. Oh, here's another thing. If somebody has in their title, blah, 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 colon, blah, 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 Chat GPT wrote it.
I think it's
do like a Might Be a Redneck series.
I mean, I think it's a good idea for generating
ideas. I heard that, by the way. Yeah, somebody's dying. Somebody is going to die tonight.
That was not
you me. Need to drink every time. Who was it? That wasn't you. That was too
that
you.
Was not me. Shut the fuck up. That was not me. That was you.
DC.
That was you. Totally need to drink for it.
Need to lock your fucking notifications down. No, literally, all you have to do is do not disturb. That's all you have to do.
Drink.
You have one.
Or maybe Sandy should drink every time it goes off.
All right. So before
why would I drink? I still haven't talked yet. I haven't given the audience the luxury. Oh my God, JJ's texting.
JJ's blowing up my phone.
Is he texting all of us? Yes, he is.
Yes. Well, he's not texting. Well, he's probably texting me, but I am a grown-up that knows what do not disturb is and how to control my notifications.
Well, that's good, because the text was about you.
Abundantly clear.
I see them come up over here, but
I don't know how to work social media or computers for that matter.
Oh my God, I have so much to teach you, grasshopper.
All right,
but I'm going to do it in a really bitchy way because pain retains, motherfucker. Okay.
I don't know about you, Tony, but they're talking over each other and nobody can hear anything.
So, all right. So, Sandy,
it's a veteran thing. Okay.
Yeah. Are we good?
No, I'm talking over the moderator. That's how I'm going to win this presidency. Okay.
Good luck with that.
Only way to win.
Here's our free spirit, Sandy Lynn, that broker girl, the IG, Instagram fucking master there. That's not me.
That is totally you.
It's you, DC.
What? Look at this. I got one screen coming up. All right. So, Sandy,
so In your top right-hand corner, there is like a toggle button next to your date on your Mac.
Okay.
Do you see that toggle button thingy on your Mac?
I see it.
Okay, so you're going to have a do not disturb right there. I'm going to teach you right on the spot.
Oh, I thought it was his phone. It's not his phone?
No, my phone
It is,
on
but
mute.
see, on the Mac,
Oh,
it's
that's true.
coming
Yep.
through on the
Yeah,
Mac.
I got
Yeah.
you. Yep.
So which
Yeah.
I am proud of him for having a Mac. Like, I'm not mad at him for having a Mac. Like, that's an amazing thing. So, okay. Anyway, we helped agents across the planet. I am positive. Like, they go through this struggle as well. So, was that my Instagram introduction, by the way?
That was, yeah.
Ben,
Yeah, I
you
think
went
we were
shut
talking
up.
over each other. So
Okay, guys. All right. So here is a perfect example of how powerful Instagram is. DC and I never would have met had it not been for Instagram. Like, we connected through Instagram. You know, we just, I think, like, okay, speaking of being yourself, obviously you get what you get with Sandy Burnett, right? And that is another reason why I chose this platform, is because I don't want to have to censor myself. And so there are different ways to use Instagram. You know, you obviously have your posts, you have your reels, and in your posts you have carousels, and then you have your reels, and then you have stories. I actually post the most in stories, and I almost forget to post like in my actual feed, you know? So my stories get a lot of engagement, and it's because I am like just documenting my day, posting about random shit. And it could be anything from, you know, all of my hobbies, working out, you know, whatever with my dogs, but then also real estate. You know, I'm doing this, and then, but whenever I was doing something like, hey guys, I got something new to show you, like a CRM or whatever I'm dabbling in, right? DC would kind of comment and be like, hey, let me know how that works out for you. Like, I'm like interested to just, you know, he was just like always piqued his interest, right? But then in the meantime, he'd always like give me shit in my like day-to-day like stories, and we're fellow veterans, so that was also another connection. And then obviously the four of us now have Epic in common, right? And when I knew that DC was always interested in the newest thing that I was interested in, I reached out to him. He and I had never had a conversation, like a real combo ever. And I said, hey, I know you've been always like interested in the latest shit that I'm interested in. I got something for you. Do you want to meet? And so we had a beer over Zoom. I showed him the model that I was interested in. You know, like that was it. He took a couple weeks to think about it, and the rest is history, right? We're all in this group, and we're all, you know, thriving together. And that is just a perfect example of how Instagram works. I have no fucking clue how we got connected. I don't know how that happened, but I do know that I'm very purposeful with my hashtags, and I'm very purposeful also. I don't know who followed who first, but I'm purposeful in who I follow, who I seek out. So my account is agent facing. That broker girl is an agent facing account. I want to connect with agents. My content is agent facing. Now, Team TBG, my real estate team, is team that broker girl. That's, you know, that's the business that I'm doing. And sometimes I let that into my that broker girl side of things. But Team TBG is my like professional, like everything that like the consumer should see. And of course, like some consumers get to know me and they know like this is me and they do come over here. And so I have gotten consumer business just because they know it's me and they know, like, and trust me from my That Broker Girl account. But I would say actually on my That Broker Girl Instagram account, my main source of business comes from two things. One is referrals, and I would say I get 1 or 2 a month, and coming from like nowhere, Iowa, not too shabby, right? So that's pretty good. Like, agents are reaching out to me, and they're reaching out to me, and sometimes more often than that, they're saying, hey, you're definitely going to be my go-to girl. Like, this is fucking hilarious, or like whatever they just like related to me about, right? But I get a solid, I would say, closing every other month just from Instagram alone, whether it be for me or one of my team members. And so that's awesome. Like, that is completely unpaid lead gen. And that's without purpose whatsoever. So obviously, now that I'm hitting that, I want to drum it up some more. Because here's the deal. When you start to find something in social media that's working, you want to truly like drill into it and plus it up. Like, once you find that, plus it up and stop being all over the place, right? I'm guilty of it too. So
it's hard not to give up.
I did write a couple of notes, so go ahead.
No, I was going to say, to that point, it's hard not to give up when you think you're doing the right thing and you don't get the results that you're expecting. Just to be like, fuck it, this shit ain't working, move on to the next thing. But to Tony's point earlier, you have to be consistent and you have to be repetitive, and you have to realize that you're going to suck at first. Whatever the content is that you're pushing.
But I would also
and
say
here's the thing.
If you're not getting if you're not getting the likes and views that you want, I would recommend doing a test. And that is, continue to post what you've been doing and then do something that's trending right now or something. Instagram always has like trendy audio and stuff like that. I would do a test and try a trendy one and see what the response is versus what you've been doing, because you might need to switch it up. I also know I don't use Instagram probably as much as I should. I'm on it, been on it for years. It's just not where I go to catch up with people. So, but I do know that when you're creating stories, that is for people that are already following you. If you want to gain new followers, you have to do reels.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. And so reels, and that all has analytics, and that brings up a very good point. You want to make sure that you have your Instagram account set up properly. And by properly, I mean 2 things. Number 1, have it set up as a professional account. But number 2, if you have any hope of making actual fun, legit, trending reels, do not fucking make a real estate agent account. Because if you do, they do not let you use any licensed fun music, any trending music whatsoever. It's all that like commercial free crap. You know what I mean? Which I had to learn the hard way. So I changed my account type to creator. So I'm a creator. Okay. So that is a huge tip. I had to like Google a big workaround because I'm like, why does all these real estate agents reels suck? And it has real estate agent in their profile. Just make sure, and this is another huge tip. If I can't tell you're a real estate agent by clicking on your profile, you're wrong. Like, if you're looking for business, if you're hard up for business, and I either can't tell you're a real estate agent or I can't get a hold of you because I don't know how to contact you, that's a problem. Huge problem. But I did write down when, Sam, when you were talking, I think you made some really good points when you were saying, when you were talking about like people uncomfortable in front of the camera. And I wrote down that they're trying to be someone they're not. Okay. So it might not just be like that they're trying to be too professional or that they're trying to be too perfect. They might be trying to be somebody that they're not. They might be like a super polished dude and have it all together, but be, you know, pointing at fucking, you know, invisible bubbles over here, you know, and doing a TikTok dance, and it's just not him at all. And I think that you should embrace who you are and like go into it. So I just feel like there's only one you, Sam. There's only one you, DC. There's only one you, Tony. And we all should like embrace that because our tribe is going to flock to us. And then when you talked about the live stream thing, that is also very true. Because for instance, right now, like hard to do. Obviously, you guys don't know what the fuck's going to come out of my mouth, right? But, you know, when I started a podcast several years ago, we actually did it in a radio station, in a fucking like legit radio station, which I also cussed in. And but we did it live stream, and I'm like, are you sure? You know, but you can't wait till you lose weight or till your like skin clears up, or like I have this crooked part of my tooth and it just like drives me crazy. I try to get my good side. You cannot wait for that stuff, right? You have to just put it out there. It's never going to be perfect, and you're doing it, and the people that are either listening to it and learning from it or listening to it and judging you, neither of them are doing it, right? And so that's the important thing. But I think the beautiful part tonight is like we all have the passion to like give back. And we, you know, we came from somewhere that like maybe agents, like for instance, I feel like we have this in common, but me for sure, just speaking for myself, when I got into real estate, I mean, I was on my own. Like it was made very clear that like I was not going to get any help from anybody, and I was on my own to figure it the fuck out. And I have a huge passion to, you know, like pull, you know, lost or stuck agents under my wing. I don't want them to feel alone. I want them to feel like they have a place to go. So, soapbox done.
I want to jump in here because you were talking about, you know, people. You're right. You explained it better that they're trying to be somebody else, and that's why they're so uncomfortable on camera. I will also tell you not make videos because you receive like bad comments. Like when my video went viral, I mean, you would have had to have really have searched to get my phone number, but I would get, I remember specific texts that I got. This guy was like, he was a complete dick. He's like, nice zit on your face. And I'm like, dude, I just showed my underwear to a male and my bra, and my fat moved. I mean, it was roly-poly moving as I flopped on the ground like a fish. Do you really freaking think I care that I had a zit? You know, it's just like there's those negative people everywhere, and I always get a ton of negative comments on everything I do. That's okay. Those aren't my people, and I usually don't even have to respond because I have enough fans out there that are awesome that they will reply for me. So I don't even have to dish the hate out. I have people that'll do that for me. So I think, you know, you just have to understand that You know, you're going to come across all different people in life, and some of them are always negative. They're very unhappy in their life. They criticize everyone and everything, and you're never going to do anything right to please them. So don't try. You know, focus on the positives and the ones that do love you for who you are and follow you, and, you know, the ones that comment stuff. You know, I have some that send me a Christmas card every year. You know, they don't forget me. They send me birthday cards. And those are the ones that I want to interact with. I don't care about the dicks that say that, you know, I'm fat or that I have a zit or whatever. I mean, there's nothing you can say that's going to hurt my
The
feelings.
fat goes out of their way.
I know, but they did. And I will tell you, there are a lot of creeps out there too. And it's a dangerous game when you put yourself out there for the public, because one, if your video takes off, these people believe they have a right to your time. And that's a boundary I recently had to set for myself, that I don't have to give them my time. I'm not going to take time away from my job and my family to make sure I give these ones my time. I will talk to them when I get around to it. You know, I try to comment on every video I make and stuff. I'll like other people's comments or I'll reply back to people. But I have to draw a boundary of how much of my time I'm going to give you. Because there's some people that will just totally like try to take over your life and your time. And that was a hard lesson to learn. I learned that in January.
Amen.
Yeah. And that was eye-opening for me, that how much time I was giving this complete stranger when they weren't deserving of it, you know?
Sounds like you really have to have thick skin, you know, whenever you put yourself out there, you know, and you are putting yourself out there. So, but, you know, when it comes to engagement and follow-up and everything, you obviously want that engagement, you know, from all these different platforms. You want people to engage with you. You want them to, if they connect with you, you want them to connect. But the other side of that, you have to have that follow-up, you know, and I think, you know, Tony, you were talking about earlier about, you know, following up and everything. And we're coming up on an hour here. I don't want to take you too much longer, but
I do talk about LinkedIn.
Well, that's what I'm going to talk about real quick here. You know, one thing that, you know, so LinkedIn has always been seen more of a professional type platform, right? More a little bit, you know, hard up. People are, you know, people on there are not there to scroll through pictures or videos or silly stuff like that. They're there to look for a job. They're there to network with other professionals. And that's one thing that when I first got out of the military, I did 20 years, retired in 2019. And in 2018, I went through this class, they call it TAPS, which is Transition Assistance Program in the military. And they really, you know, when you getting yourself out there and creating a LinkedIn account and trying to connect with as many professionals out there throughout the country, right? So that was my very first platform. And, you know, initially it was very much geared towards what I did in the military. I was a flight engineer. I was flying aircraft and I was trying to connect with people. As a matter of fact, I had job offers from Disney out in California, some pharmaceutical companies that they were flying their G5s, somebody out in New Jersey. You know, I was talking to them constantly, trying to see which direction I wanted to go. Ultimately, I ended up here in Dallas, and then eventually got into the real estate thing. So, but the fact that, and I don't know, you know, how true, because I don't know algorithms. I don't study this stuff that much. All I know is that I was pushing out content and I was paying a company to push out content on all my platforms, you know, on my behalf. So I was paying, I don't know how many, $60 a month or whatever. And they were like, well, we're going to push out this stock, you know, images and stuff like that to all these different platforms. And it's going to be the same throughout. But, you know, what happened on LinkedIn in particular, I think it's just the fact that my content was constantly being seen through. You know, I had, being a veteran, I did put out stuff, talking head videos. We were talking about nobody wants to see stuff about how to, sell your house and stuff like that. But that's kind of the shit that I was doing, right? And I don't know, I enjoyed it. Maybe that came through the camera where people were like, okay, he actually kind of likes doing this stuff, and we connect to that. So, but they searched realtor in Dallas, and my name fucking popped up, right? So, and then they reached out. So, one thing that I wanted to talk about, obviously, all of these are going to be in some fashion, they're going to be a searchable type media where people are going to be able to look you up and kind of what you're about. The thing that I reached out. I closed these deals out with these people, and I asked them. I was like, "What was it about? How did we connect and everything?" And they said, when we reached out to you on LinkedIn, one of them was there a buddy of mine that he had retired around the same time frame. He said, "Hey, I know a realtor. He's out in Dallas. You should connect with him." And he CC'd me on that message, and I reached out to them immediately, and I started offering value. I started offering them like, "Hey, these are the different areas. If you want to move here, this is what you can expect here. This is what you can expect there." And I didn't say, "Hey, just call me when you're ready." I continued to reach out. And I think that's what they felt was important. And when I asked them, and they're like, "Well, there were two other people that reached out to us through LinkedIn, and they just said, 'Here's my number. Call me when you're ready.'"
Yeah.
And my approach was a little bit different. And I actually reached out to them, which what Tony was talking about. You have to engage with these people. That was one, and the other one is funny that you mentioned. On LinkedIn, they said, that we scheduled a time for them to come out to Dallas. They were coming out from Virginia, retiring Navy. They came out, and we had this conversation about the different areas in Dallas where they wanted to, and they said, "Well, I think tomorrow we're going to look on our own," and
No.
and fortunately, I was the first one that I was like, "Hey, let's go ahead and schedule our tours on this day." And then when we took a break between home tours and touring the city, I took them out to lunch and everything. We were talking, and they said, "Well, I think tomorrow we're going to look on our own." And then I kind of dug in a little deeper, and they said, "Well, we had another realtor that we found on YouTube that had that we were in communication with. The difference between me and him was that he gave them a list of homes to go look at, versus me saying, 'Here, I'm going to take you and I'm going to show you this communities and I'm going to show you these homes.'" That was very much a personal approach. So, whatever works for you, this happened to work for me. And I'm very grateful for it because, I definitely showed them some value. So, I think lesson learned, regardless of what platform you're in, you have to demonstrate what your value is to the people that you're trying to serve.
And, we talked about it's important to know who your audience is. And you on LinkedIn specifically, it is a very professional environment. So I could see why videos or content related to more educational would work better there than on like Facebook or Instagram. So yeah, I mean, you did a good job there because you knew what you were pitching, what audience you were pitching to.
I'm curious about, delving into YouTube a little bit, and, my Instagram is what it is, Yeah.
I will tell you, those Instagram people are tough. They are tough. I talked to Sandy about this because like I get so frustrated with Instagram because sometimes like when I, have my shit together and I'm posting like daily or even weekly, my numbers go up and down so much. It's so frustrating. It is so hard to keep a follower on Instagram. No other platform do you have people go specifically and unfollow you. They go in droves. They're like, "See ya," and they come back and they.
Oh yeah,
like,
I've lost like 5 followers in the past day.
Yeah, you're like
so
20 new followers.
I will say that Instagram did say something about this, right? Because people are talking about that. Like, why would I ever post if I'm going to get unfollowed when I post? And they say, like, yes, of course, sometimes, you know, somebody will view your content and that reminds them to unfollow you. But also, that also, like, you know, reaches new followers and, like, you know, I mean, I literally just saw them address it.
I mean, I take that shit personally. I mean,
I'm
Facebook,
like, who the fuck unfollowed me, motherfuckers?
Yeah. On Facebook,
Unfollow
they
this.
follow you for life. They follow you for life. They don't take the time to go back and unfollow you.
Yeah.
Who does that?
So, all right. So I know obviously we all kind of specialize in different platforms and everything. Do you guys have other platforms? I have LinkedIn. I don't have YouTube yet. I have a Facebook business page with like 2 followers. You know, and I
We're gonna work on
have
that.
Instagram. So
We're gonna work
Tony,
on that.
you and I are going to talk offline on how to get that YouTube shit going. But
Yeah.
in regards to different platforms, I think to reach, if you're trying to reach, you know, the maximum exposure and whatever, what are your thoughts on how to structure your platform? Should they be all cohesive, like that broker girl on Instagram, that broker girl on LinkedIn? Should they all be the same so that people can recognize you, or should you have
Not the same content, but the
identities?
same name. Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. You want to be a recognized person, but you need to tailor your content differently, because if you are posting the same shit on all the platforms, it will like, the platforms are in competition, so it will recognize, the algos will recognize that this has already been posted elsewhere, and it will smush, for lack of a better term, it will smush, and it will not be showing your content. And if it's not showing your content and you're not getting likes or engagement, then you're going to suffer even more, because it's like, okay, if your previous content didn't get likes or engagement, we're sure as shit not going to show your future content. And so it's a vicious cycle. And that brings up a very good point. I know we got to wrap it up, but that brings up an amazing point for anybody who thinks that these auto post companies are a good idea. And maybe some of them have it figured out to where it's like almost genuine, and you're paying a lot of money, great. But if you're doing something that's getting 0 likes or 1 like or like nothing, do not subscribe to that service, because you are hurting yourself. Consistency is not key anymore. That is gone. Forget that information, because that's like 1996 shit. All right. Now, what really matters is engagement and content. Okay. And so, if, like, whatever platform you choose, they are in competition with the other platforms, and their sole goal is to keep their platform users there. And if they're getting engagement from your content, they're going to push it up. And if they're not getting engagement from your content, they're going to push it down. So that is everything. And if it's like, what do you think of this kitchen counter versus this kitchen counter? Like, do you actually think that's going to work? I mean, test it. Like, if it works for you and your audience, then great. But usually it doesn't work. Okay. I did get a question here. What are your thoughts on having this is a great question. What are your thoughts on having your Facebook and Instagram tied together through Meta? I love this question. I actually have mine tied together. I have my That Broker Girl account tied to my Sandy Burnett personal Facebook profile. But what I am is careful about the content that I like feed. So if I'm doing a story or if I'm doing a post, sometimes I'll toggle off if I'm actually gonna throw it over to Facebook, or sometimes I will like throw it over. So I mainly post from Instagram, and then I'll decide whether yes to Facebook or no to Facebook. And that's how I do it. And if I'm doing a story from Instagram, I mean, like, so I don't do like jack shit from Facebook hardly ever. Um, so does anybody else have an answer to that question?
I'm the same as you. Mine are tied together, and there's some things that I can't push. I post everything on Facebook, everything. So there's some content that Instagram doesn't allow me to push. So I don't push that. So they don't get everything. If you want the best of me, I always say you have to go on Facebook. But mine are tied together. So when I run ads and stuff, they're tied together. It's all tied to my business Meta account. But I'm not one that follows like algorithm and stuff. I know nothing about that. I should probably learn about it, but I don't, because it's just not me.
I'm the same. I don't.
Yeah, I don't read too much into it, but my stuff is all tied together, and some stuff posts to that and some doesn't. I will say though, with everything that's been going on with TikTok in the United States trying to ban TikTok, I just want to remind everybody that it's important that, yes, you might focus on one platform, but you need to be relevant on more than one in case one goes away. So like all my followers,
completely agree with that.
Facebook went away. What do I fall back on? So you have to build something. It might not be as huge as what you are on one platform, the one that you specialize in, but you definitely need to have a presence, because if one goes away, like TikTok, all those agents that are on TikTok and that's all they do is TikTok, which is great for them. But, if the United States bans TikTok, then what? What are you going to do then? So I think it's important to be mindful of that.
And it's called social credibility. The social credibility, right? So there are people, and keep in mind, everybody, that Facebook and Instagram are tied. So don't rely on Instagram or Facebook to be your alternative one. I would lean on TikTok or like YouTube or LinkedIn as your fallback. And it shouldn't just be because you're banned. It should be because where else am I going to find this person? Are they fucking real? Like, it's called social credibility. It's a real thing. So
I think that's more. I mean, that's why it's more important than ever to have, if you're on multiple platforms, to have your branding, like you said, be cohesive throughout, but tailor your content to that specific platform.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So,
all right, I'm tired.
Have any other thoughts? Are we good? Oh, hey, listen. Well, I appreciate you guys taking your time. I appreciate everybody that joined in and commented. This is always fun. Next time, I'm hoping the guys will have a little actual something to drink.
If I ever come back, I will definitely have a drink.
Sam, you're welcome.
Yes, what the fuck, Sam?
Then, well, you know what? Sandy and I are going to talk offline on how to, I need a lesson on how to mute my shit, apparently. So.
I love how JJ was just like not helping.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks to everybody for tuning in, and thank you guys for also coming to the show.
Boom. Looking forward to next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.